Welcome to The Explainer. Let's just dive right into it today. I'm going to go ahead and act as your brutally honest friend for a few minutes. We're going to look at exactly why making more money hasn't magically fixed your financial stress, and more importantly, how you can finally escape that cycle. So if you're sitting there feeling like you're working harder than ever, you're earning more than ever, but you somehow still feel totally broke, well, you are exactly in the right place. Let's open with a slightly jarring reality check. Picture a young professional who started out making, let's say, $45,000 a year. They packed their lunches, drove a clunky older car, lived with roommates, and, they managed to get by. Then they really grinded it out. They got promotion after promotion over 5 years, eventually doubling their salary to 90 grand. But here's the kicker. Today, they have the exact same $0 savings balance they had on day one. How on earth does that happen? If that story hit a little too close to home, well, consider this stark reality. 40%. Right now, 40% of Americans earning over $100,000 a year are living completely paycheck to paycheck. Just let that sink in for a second. We're talking about people bringing home over $8,000 a month after taxes, and they have absolutely nothing left to show for it by the end of the month. If the problem was simply not earning enough money, that statistic would be mathematically impossible. But it's very, very real.
So, moving to Section 1, our diagnosis, lifestyle inflation.
What's really going on under the hood here? Listen, this lack of savings isn't some massive character flaw, and it's not a lack of willpower. It's actually a highly predictable psychological condition known as lifestyle inflation. Simply put, it's the tendency for your spending to automatically increase the very second your income increases. Every single time you get a raise or a nice bonus, it just gets quietly absorbed. It morphs into an upgraded apartment, a newer car, ordering out instead of cooking, and just generally more expensive daily habits. The extra money doesn't ever make it to your net worth. It literally evaporates into a slightly more expensive version of your current life. The psychology behind why we do this basically boils down to 4 main drivers. First up is the I deserve it mindset. You worked hard, you got the promotion, so you feel like you earned the right to spend more. But confusing deserving it with actually being able to afford it without blowing up your future, that is a wildly expensive trap. Second is hedonic adaptation. This is a deeply human response, where we just quickly get used to a new luxury until it feels like baseline normal. That new car smell fades, and by July, it's just the thing that gets you to work. Third, we have social comparison. We constantly calibrate what's normal based on our coworkers and our neighbors. And finally, optimism bias, telling yourself the ultimate lie. Oh, I'll definitely save more next year when I'm making even more money. Spoiler alert, you won't.
All right, moving to Section 2, let's talk about the 2026 financial squeeze.
Okay, so that covers the internal psychology. But we can't ignore the external world and the brutal macroeconomic realities of 2026. A massive divide has emerged. Roughly 2/3 of all consumers are living paycheck to paycheck right now. But look at the breakdown. About 20 to 25% are struggling by pure necessity, meaning their baseline bare bones bills simply exceed their income. However, a staggering 40 to 45% are living paycheck to paycheck by pure choice. They can comfortably cover their bills, but they are willingly spending every single remaining dollar that comes in. And here's where that squeeze really tightens the grip. The stark math for 2026 shows nominal wage growth sitting at 3.6%, but the inflation rate is at 3.8%. For the first time in 3 years, everyday baseline costs have officially outpaced recent wage growth. What does that mean for you? Well, it means even if you just got a raise, you are effectively earning less in real terms right now. The absolute baseline costs just to stay alive, like keeping a roof over your head and gas in the tank, are growing faster than your paycheck is. Now add to that the modern economy's absolute favorite magic trick, invisible spending, or as I call it, subscription creep. The average person vastly underestimates their monthly outflows. You might sit there and think, oh, I spend maybe $50 a month on a couple of streaming services. But banks and financial apps tell a very different story. You're actually spending between $120 and $180. All those little software tools, beauty boxes, and gym memberships, they quietly drain hundreds of dollars from your account without you even noticing. So what happens when the money runs out at the end of the month? People turn to credit, which brings us to this truly shocking number. 21.52%. That is the average credit card APR in early 2026. Combine that with the fact that the average American household is now carrying an $11,507 debt balance. This is the ultimate trap, that keeps millions stuck, blindly adding to their balances month after month just to maintain a lifestyle they've inflated into. And the mathematical reality of this debt is just brutal. If you're only making the minimum payments, say roughly $132 on that average balance, it's going to take you over 7 years to pay it off. Plus, it's going to cost you thousands in pure interest. The alternative here is the avalanche method. This means ruthlessly destroying your highest interest debt first. Why? Because paying off a 21% APR credit card is mathematically identical to getting a guaranteed 21% return on your money. Honestly, no stock market index fund in the world is going to guarantee you a 21% return. Eliminating this debt is how you start compounding your money into savings instead of just handing it over to a bank.
Okay, let's look at Section 3, our 6 steps to finally break free.
All right, I promised to be your brutally honest friend, and well, that was the tough love portion. Now, let's pivot hard to your concrete, math-backed escape plan. Steps 1 and 2 are all about radical clarity. I want you to do a simple reflection exercise today and calculate 2 critical numbers. Number 1, your survival expenses. What does it cost to literally keep the lights on and stay alive? Just rent, basic groceries, utilities, and minimum debt payments. That's it. Number 2, your actual spending. Pull up your last 3 months of bank statements and confront the reality of your lifestyle upgrades. The gap between those 2 numbers, that is where your entire financial future gets decided. So consider this your intervention guide. Let's walk through it. Step 1, track every single transaction so you can weed out those hidden subscriptions. Step 2, fiercely know those 2 numbers we just talked about. Step 3, pay yourself first automatically. You got to treat savings like a non-negotiable bill. Step 4, save 50% of any income increase. Step 5, destroy that high-interest debt using the avalanche method to lock in that guaranteed return. And step 6, before you do any fancy investing, you need to build a 1-month buffer of survival expenses. This is the only way you stop relying on credit cards the second an emergency pops up. Now, I really want to highlight step 3 for a second, and I'll use one of my favorite quotes to do it. Discipline is finite, systems are permanent. Listen, if your savings plan relies on you manually logging in and moving money over at the end of the month, you are going to fail. Optimism bias will beat your forced willpower every single time. You absolutely have to automate it. That money must disappear into a totally separate account before you even have the chance to spend it. And the absolute ultimate hack to stopping lifestyle inflation dead in its tracks is this one concrete rule. Redirect your windfalls. The very moment you get a raise, before you upgrade your car, before you even browse Zillow for new apartments, you take exactly 50% of that new money and you automate it straight into your savings or your debt payoff. You still get to inflate your lifestyle a little bit with the other half. I mean, you earned it. Your life should get better. But you are permanently protecting the gap between what you earn and what you spend. So I'll leave you with this crucial question today. Will your future self be broke, constantly chasing a lifestyle they can never quite afford? Or will they thank you for making the hard choices and setting up the system today? Remember, half of all Americans wish they had started doing this earlier. The best time to start is literally right now. Build that 1-month survival foundation, automate those systems, and break the trap for good. And hey, make sure you join me for our next explainer, where we're going to dive into exactly how to start aggressively investing your money once you've got that 1-month foundation finally in place. Catch you then.